This is Join Us in France, episode 217. Bonjour, I'm Annie, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we talk about France, its many quirks, its history, its language, and of course, itineraries and destinations in France you want to hear about because hopefully you'll be visiting soon. On today's episode, French Christmas songs. Did you know that there are quite a few songs that you probably know in English that originated in France? Every time I prepare a new episode, I think of the people who will be listening to it. I try to picture you, wondering what might lift your mood, and of course tell you cool things about France. And since this is the Christmas season, I thought, well, one of the things that lifts my mood is Christmas songs. And I also wonder how many of you are of French descent? Because if you are, you can be sure that your ancestors sang some of these songs around the fireplace and at church and around their villages, because these songs are so old. We don't really know very much about their origin, and you'll see about that in a second. Join Us in France is brought to you by Patreon supporters and Addicted to France, the small group tour company for people who want to enjoy France to the fullest with a couple of natives such as Elise and yours truly. The sale of the 2019 Dordogne tour closes in a few days. Check out addictedtofrance.com for our latest offer. Hello, Martha, and welcome to Join Us in France.
Thank you, Annie. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yes, I do too. So let me introduce Martha just a little bit. Martha is my mother-in-law, and she has been a wonderful mother-in-law. And she is also an amazing musician. And she has a master's degree in choral conducting, right?
Yes.
And you have you've been the conductor of the Utah Baroque Ensemble for 32 years. And that choir is unbelievably good. I must admit, we went to hear you sing in Germany this summer, and you guys sound fabulous.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It was delightful to sing in those cathedrals that are so famous and such amazing acoustics.
Right. And you're also the conductor of the Christmas chorus, and that has been going on for 39 years. And that's a choir that meets just for the Christmas season to put on two concerts?
Yes.
Right. 2 concerts. And when I lived in Utah, I participated for a few years, but it's a lot of work. That one is also a lot of work. And you sing, and usually when I was there, we would sing a French song sometimes, not always, but
Yes.
but you sing a variety of things.
Yes, and in a lot of different languages in that choir. It's been fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how did we get Christmas songs to begin with?
Well, the Christmas carols come from, actually a carol originally was a dance. And then the singing with the dance. And then the singing has gone on, been passed down for many years, more than the dancing. But they come, most of the carols that we will do, that you'll be playing for people, are really folk carols. And of course, someone had to begin with the melody. Mm-hmm. Some of the melodies come from an instrumental tune or a drinking song or something else that people knew, and then they put words to it to celebrate Christmas.
Right.
And they get passed down, taught to each other and passed down, and so they change some But these ones that we have today have existed for hundreds of years.
Right. The first one we're going to play is called Entre le bœuf et l'âne gris. And it's one of the earliest carols that we still sing today. It dates back from the early 1500s. So that's the very end of the Middle Ages. It's a long, long time ago. And for some reason, it has survived. I mean, it must have been one that people particularly like, that they kept on singing year after year.
Yes, and it's tender, singing the baby to sleep. With the animals around, and so it's a scene that people like, and it's a pretty easy tune.
Okay, so before I play that for you, I have to say, we did not do very much practicing when we recorded this. So this is an interesting family because I was raised in a musical family. My grandfather was a marching band conductor and apparently could play all sorts of instruments. And my father didn't do any music, but then my brother had an uncanny ear for tunes, and so you could play him the radio and he could play it on the piano, which we always thought was magic. And as a result, we spent a lot of time growing up with my brother at the piano and the rest of the family singing. And then I married into a family of professional musicians because you, Martha, are, a choral conductor. Your husband is a composer and has been a professor for many years. And so it was very interesting to be again in a musical family, but one that was a lot more serious. Because on my side of the family, it's mostly silliness. So anyway, we got together in July and we decided we wanted to do an episode for Christmas. And so we recorded a few things. So this is not professional singing by any means, but I would like to explain that my father-in-law is at the piano. My brother is on the trumpet. His daughter, who's 12, is playing the viola. You, Martha, you conduct, you sing, and you played the recorder. And
that just meant that sometimes we had to chase the trumpet far away so that the rest of us could be heard.
Yes.
So I was trying to keep us together. Spread out over 2 or 3 rooms.
Right, because the trumpet, he had a silencer. My brother brought a silencer. No, he didn't bring a silencer. That's what it was. And so he was trying to do it with like a hat or something, and it wasn't working.
That's usually called a mute.
A mute.
In English.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, a silencer is for a gun, isn't it? I'm sorry. I didn't mean that my brother is... Anyway, so yes, it was kind of complicated, and we did the best we could. And of course, again, we have one side of the family, my brother who just plays by ear, and then the musicians who wanted to write things out because that's what they do. So it was kind of funny. Anyway, some of these tunes sound lovely anyway, even though we were not very well practiced. We had great fun doing it. And I was listening to them again just a few days ago to put together this episode, and I was grinning from ear to ear. So I hope you do too. So here you go. Here's the first one, Entre le bœuf et l'âne gris. Is that one translated in English? Do you know an English title for that one?
I don't know an English title.
Okay.
In the cow and the gray sheep.
Donkey,
right?
Donkey, âne, donkey.
Sorry. Yes.
All right, let's play that one. So now let's talk. Hopefully you survived this one. Let's talk about the second one called Il est né le divin enfant. So again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Does that one have an English title? I didn't find one.
Yes. Usually he is born.
Oh, he is born.
By Christ child.
Okay. So this one, from what I read, it was a hunting song originally from the late 1600s.
Because the tune, the kind of thing you could play on a hunting horn.
Ah. Because it's simple enough?
Yeah, it has the intervals that a horn without any valves could play.
Oh.
Easily.
There you go. That makes sense. So the text we sing today is from the 1800s, and that's about all I know about it. It's surprising how little we know about some of these songs, isn't it?
Yes, but that's because they weren't recorded written down, and a composer and an author cited. They're just passed around through families and communities.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's listen to Il est né le divin enfant. The next one is Noël Nouvelé, or Sing We Now of Christmas. Do you have anything you know about this one? Because I know zero about this one.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't looked up. It's one that my family liked a lot that we sang growing up.
Yeah.
As my mother taught us carols that she knew.
Yeah, your mother taught me French carols. It was so surprising. The first Christmas I spent in the family, she just, sang these songs for me. And I was like, I don't know this one. I think in France, French people sing a lot of tunes that are from the American tradition. I mean, Jingle Bells and Sleigh Ride and things like that. They got translated into French, and we sing those more than the old traditional carols, which is too bad.
I think that's true in America as well. Mm-hmm. That those of us involved in choral music tend to get into carols, and there'll be lots of different arrangements of them that make them fancier than just to sing the melody. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the American and English carols that I know, most people don't.
Yeah.
The folk traditions are not as strong as they used to be.
Right. We all listen to the Mariah Carey kind of Christmas songs.
Yes, so we get our professionally recorded music. And members of a family listen to each person what they like rather than producing music together themselves. And that's what carries the folk tradition.
That's true. Yeah, because this was not an option long ago in France. These are songs that got sung in villages where they had never seen a professional musician. It was all the music they had was whatever music they could produce.
Right. and not much written down.
Right.
Just special things that individuals loved became known in the communities and then passed around to families in other communities.
Mm-hmm. So with this one, we're going back in time just a little bit. This is probably the late 1500s. So again, this is Noël Nouvelet, or Sing We Now of Christmas. Les anges dans nos campagnes, angels we have heard on high.
Yes, this is one that most people in lots of different countries would know.
Mm-hmm.
It has become part of the global tradition, I guess.
Yes.
With Silent Night and some of the others.
Uh-huh. Yes, and this one, so the reason why we know more about this one is because it was published in 1843 for the first publication that they find, where they just said it's from the Languedoc. So Languedoc is where, well, close to where I live, in the south of France. And it was included in several music books. This is when they started publishing books with music in them. And so this was 1846, 1848, and it was probably composed in the late 1700s, but we don't know the detail of who wrote it, but at least we have a record of it being published at one point.
Yes, and that makes a big difference if it was published early and then people liked it in it.
Mm-hmm. And this would be a good time to mention one we didn't record. I don't remember if we even tried to record it and it didn't work out, but it's Minuit Chrétien, O Holy Night. That's also a French song.
Right. And one that we know the composer and the author and...
right.
Yes, very famous one.
Yeah. Okay, let's listen to Les Anges dans nos campagnes.
Les anges
Tell me which one that is.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah. So this one is a traditional Occitan carol. So this is exactly from the Toulouse area. This is one that I've heard sung in churches in Occitan around here all the time. This is one that my husband participates in choirs around here, and they often sing it. And so it's funny because in the recording, he actually says the words better than I do because he sang this with choirs and he has more practice. For me, I was just reading the words going, oh, my Occitan is really bad. But it's such a fun song. It's upbeat. And I think that's one of the reasons why it has survived is because, in the winter, we like cheerful music, I guess.
Sure.
And
the little refrain mimics a trumpet.
Yes.
And the drum that it sings about.
Right. Yes, and it talks about how people come to perform obadas, which we in French today we still have that word une obade, and it just means a very short informal concert. So, for instance, if a choir is going to be singing for an official event like the November 11th or something like that, they will usually go and sing La Marseillaise, so the national anthem, and then they will do a short obade, which just means they will sing one or two songs. And so I guess it worked kind of like caroling because people would go... Right, they would...
Like caroling.
Right, they would go around. It's usually outdoor, so I assume that people would go sing their obade around villages and places like that. And the song talks about that. It says, we're going to sing an obade, and we're going to play our trumpet and our recorders, and one will play this line, and then the other will respond with this line, and they will say, "Beautiful child, we've come to sing Noel for you," and the angels will help us sing. So like in a lot of other, this one, it's clear that they're singing to the baby Jesus, but in a lot of carols I find that really everything you're saying could apply to any baby. Like, yes. It's often about how sweet the baby is, how beautiful the baby is, how peaceful it is, that sort of thing.
Sleep or something.
Right.
But if it mentions the Mother Mary or the animals or the angels, then that puts it directly with Jesus. But still, it can feel like it applies to your own child.
Right, and that's probably why Christmas carols are so touching to people. Is because even people who are not particularly religious, they're lovely songs that talk about babies.
Yes. People who are not terribly musical probably still sing a lullaby to their baby.
Right.
And know what that feels like.
Yep. Okay, so let's hear Nadal Tindeira. All right, let's move on to La Marche des Rois, which in English is...
The March of the Kings, or the March of the Kings.
Right. So this one is a traditional song from Provence, and it was made really famous by Bizet in a piece he wrote called L'Arlésienne, so that's the girl from Arles. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I thought L'Arlésienne was an opera because Bizet is famous for Carmen, but it's not a full opera.
That we don't know as well, but it's incidental music, and there actually are two different suites of pieces from the incidental music that he wrote, and the march is in the more famous suite.
Yeah, it's super famous. Everybody has heard the tune, I think. Mm-hmm. It was originally written to accompany a theatrical performance of a play by Alphonse Daudet. So this made me smile as well because he's a famous author and he wrote a lot of pieces that take place in Provence. And he wrote some of the cutest little children's stories, about the goat who wanted to escape all the time. And so the well-meaning farmer had to tie her down, but kept on giving her a longer and longer rope until one day the rope was so long that the goat went all the way up in the mountain and got eaten by the wolf.
Oh.
Yes, I know. But, children's stories used to not be so...
so happy ending all the
time. Daudet definitely wrote like, children, stay close to your house. This was it.
Yeah, I'm going to say a lot of those stories are trying to teach the child something that you want.
Right.
And there's danger if you do this or that.
Right. And this one talks about the three kings arriving with their gifts for the baby Jesus.
Yes.
Let's listen to that one. Now, the last one is Un flambeau Jeannette Isabelle, which I must admit I did not know until I got to know you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's our favorites.
And it's beautiful. Do you want to tell us about it?
Well, in English, it says, bring a torch, Jeannette Isabella. And come and hurry to the stable to see the baby, and then says, hush, don't wake him up, don't make so much noise.
Right. Yeah, it's a lovely description of motherhood. I think it's so. Apparently, these two ladies, Jeannette and Isabelle, I thought that Jeannette Isabelle was the same person, because we often do this in French. We use two names. But it's not. It's two ladies who are living. So in the story, this is another one from Provence, right? And it was published for the first time in 1553. We know who wrote it, Nicolas Saboli, and the lyrics by Émile Blémont. And like you said, it talks of these two women who hear the Mother Mary cry out loud about the birth of her son, and they rush up to her with a torch, and then they take care of Mary and the baby. And it's just such a sweet song. I think. It's one of my favorites. So this is going to be the last one we're going to play for you. So thank you so much, Martha, for chatting with me about this and for helping us record all of this, because without you, I don't think it would have happened. Because
Well, it was a very fun evening. A little crazy, but very fun.
It's always crazy with my family.
Craziness that your audience won't hear. But,
No. I've removed most of the craziness because there's a lot of laughter and a lot of stopping in the middle and going, what's going on? What are we doing?
So maybe if some of your listeners haven't heard these songs before, they will notice hearing them in a choir concert or somebody caroling or something. They're lovely part of the Christmas tradition.
They are. And if you are a resident of Utah, you should definitely check out the Utah Baroque Ensemble. It's some of the sweetest music you've ever heard. And also the Christmas chorus, even though for this year you're done, right? You've done your concerts.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm very happy to say that I'll spend Christmas with you and we'll get to sing again.
Yes. Love it. Soon.
Wonderful. Yep, just a few days. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Un flambeau, Jeannette, Isabelle, un flambeau pour rose au berceau. C'est Jésus, de Jean du Hameau, le Christ est né, Marie appelle. Que la mère est belle, que l'enfant est beau. Le ciel, lui, la nuit est sans voile, le ciel, lui, sans cabas du lit. Porte-toi dans les voiles petits, il resplendit comme une étoile. Va sans des draps de toile, va et ton bel habit.
Thank you, Brian Eugene Dunning, for pledging to support the show on Patreon this week. And my thanks to all the other patrons who support the show month after month. Thank you for giving back. I want to say thank you again to the people who have supported the show the most over the last few years. So thank you, Shannon Kitchen. Thank you, Tracy Gillespie. Thank you, Rob O'Neill. Thank you, Dorothy Kangas. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Nancy Collier. Thank you, Michelle Olander. And thank you, Matthew Gamache and Maureen Kelly, and also Maggie Jones. These are the top donors to the show. Thank you so much, you guys. You are wonderful. And I hope you and everybody else listening has a wonderful holiday season. As always, I want to encourage you to share the show with people you know who are going to be visiting soon. What you could do is tell them that they can listen to the show on Pandora, Spotify, Alexa, Google Home, YouTube, and on joinusinfrance.com as well. Or you could go to the website, find the episode that they should start with, because that's what they were asking you about, and you can share it. There are social share buttons. You can even share it as a private message on Facebook. So it doesn't have to be something that everybody knows about. So let me cut it short. Everybody have a wonderful holiday season. Have a little French wine, maybe a little French chocolate, maybe a favorite French recipe. I don't know what you like to do. But I hope this year has been good to you. It certainly has been good to me. And I wish you a great week of trip planning. And I'll talk to you actually, I won't talk to you until I think it's January 16th. So I'm going to skip 2 Sundays. Happy holidays, everybody. The Join Us in France Travel Podcast is written and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2018 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.